that additional amount of carbohydrates of going up to like that, 6-8 grams per kilo plus as resistance trained athletes just isn't necessarily going to add any other benefits towards our performance.
I would sort of lay the foundation here by saying that, again, it's an interesting circumstance for lifters because we're not having to carb load or anything like that. There are circumstances, maybe specifically for bodybuilders, where we might do a carb loading approach in peak week. But how would you sort of lay the foundation for intake overall, Lauren?
Yeah, so the first thing, it seems the obvious one, but you would obviously set your total calories based on the goal, whether it's fat loss, maintenance, or gaining, and then you would set your protein around, let's say, for example, 1.6 to 2.2 grams per kilogram per day, often close to the higher end stage during the fat loss phase. And then what I would typically do is set your fats next to that. So it might be, 0.8 or 1 gram fat per kilogram body weight. And then, of course, the remainder would come from carbohydrates. So, for example, if you're using a 70 kilogram lifter having 2,400 calories, if the protein is about 2 grams per kilogram, that might be 140 grams of protein and 560 calories, I believe. If you're setting fats at say 0.7 grams per kilogram, that might be 49 grams of fats, equating to about 440 calories, which would then leave about 1,400 calories for carbohydrates. And since carbohydrates have 4 calories per gram, that sort of gives us around 350 grams of carbs per day. So, of course, setting the foundation, total calories, protein, minimum fats for health, inflammation, hormones, etc. Then the remaining carbohydrates. And then after that, I would think about, what are our training demands? Because they do differ massively between people. So I think specifically for general weight training, let's say moderate activity, it might be anywhere between 3 to 4, 3 to 5 grams per kilogram per day, for example. So that's sort of how I would think about it. If you're doing more moderate to high volume, maybe it would be a little bit higher than that. If you do endurance, CrossFit, high volume sport, multiple sessions a day, it might be more so towards the range of about 5 to 8 grams per kilogram per day or something like that. So they're sort of the initial foundations.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's going to be so circumstantial to one, what is the innate energy balance or phase that the individual is in? Because there'll also be so much distribution of just energy intake alone. Like I myself have been in phases where I've had moderate fat, like 1 gram per kilo body weight of fat, and then I've literally had 700 grams of carbs, which is not necessary. I don't need 700 grams of carbs to optimize my training, but it just so happens that that's the macronutrient that we're using to boost our energy intake. But that's where, again, we'll of course be doing an episode on dietary fat and dietary fiber, and that's where everyone sort of combine all of these frameworks together. But you may sort of utilize the carbohydrate dial to turn up and down your energy intake. So I think we can, often there are ranges cited for the amount of total intake of carbs per day. And I think if someone's in a fat loss phase, then it may end up being closer to 2 to 4 grams per kilo body weight of carbohydrates. And then sort of in a maintenance phase and above, you're probably realistically looking for most people 4 plus grams per kilo body weight of carbohydrates. But again, with it, if resistance training is your main exercise modality and you're not super active otherwise through lots of cardio or an insanely high step count, then more carbohydrates is not going to correlate with improved training performance. There's other dials that you would need to turn in that case, around programming, of course, and your recovery and nervous system fatigue. So what other points would you add on this topic, Damien?
To be honest, I think Lauren covered it pretty well in that circumstance around the foundation and setting things. And like you mentioned before, around once you kind of get to that top end of capping out your carbohydrate intake, and kind of how I said before, due to our muscle glycogen stores, and once they are saturated, then that additional amount of carbohydrates of going up to that 6-8 grams per kilo plus as resistance trained athletes just isn't necessarily going to add any other benefits towards our performance. Yeah.
I want to talk about this point a little bit more because I find it interesting. And that's in the absence of glycogen being used for energy and training, which again, we've touched on is not a hugely important factor or major factor for resistance trained individuals. We know everyone says you should have carbs before your workout, but what are carbs then actually doing for training if it's not glycogen? So I think there's 2 points that come to mind for me. One is the central nervous system support, as you mentioned earlier, Lauren, but also helping with blood glucose stabilization as well. Because if you have a dip in blood glucose during your training session, then that's associated with perceived or increase in your perception of effort. And it's just not, if for anyone who has gone hypoglycemic before, or who have had a dip in blood sugar, it's not really associated with feeling your best. So I think those would be two important factors for like why we still want carbs in and around the peri-workout window for lifters. Like, would you add any other points to that, Lauren?
Yes, actually, I think that there was a 2022 systematic review, I think, that looked at strength and resistance training performance in certain individuals. And I think the key takeaway was that the carbs in this context, these conditions do not actually automatically improve every lifting session, especially if someone is already quite well fed and that the session is moderate volume. I think it was around up to like 10 sets per muscle group or something. I think when carbs seem to matter more in this instance is when the training demand is a lot higher. So for example, high volume bodybuilding sessions, so like long leg and or back days, faster training, if you're in dieting phases, if you're in very sort of glycogen depleted states, multiple sessions close together, that sort of thing. So I think for this review, the practical takeaway was not like more carbs always equals more strength, for example. It's that carbs are most useful when they solve a performance problem in this sort of context. So yeah, that was an interesting review.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm sure many people can relate around. I've had sessions, and I'm sure both of you have had sessions where you may not have fueled the best going into it, or it's just one of those days where like things just haven't gone to plan, and like you get into the gym and you almost go into the session, as much as we shouldn't be thinking this, like you go into the session being like, oh, may not be the best session today, but then you end up smashing it out of the park. And I think it's sometimes a reminder that like I think people do overblow the proportions of I've had a bad night's sleep, like I'm not fueled the best, when like, especially when you're in your overarchingly in a fed state and like you're in a solid maintenance phase or a surplus phase, then like you probably are still going to have a decent session. A little bit different in a deficit, where again, like your blood glucose and maybe your glycogen storage in a deficit is more influenced by your fueling beforehand, but less so, of course, in a more fed state. So I do want to touch a little bit on the low carb situation as well. And we, again, as we've just discussed, like carbohydrates aren't the be all and end all for performance, like particularly resistance training performance. So that's why I think individuals can still perform well on a lower carbohydrate approach. I think the key message that we probably just want to portray here is that it's not necessarily better to go low carb. It's like very much, if anything, if I had to choose a stance, like it's leaning towards not as favorable for resistance training performance. Of course, even from the standpoint of having more muscle glycogen means that your muscles are fuller and you get arguably a better pump in the gym, and those ticking those variables as well. So I think more than anything here, I just make sure that people are coming from an informed perspective. And if anyone does feel like they have to go low carb to get the best results for their training or for their physique, then you don't have to do that. So, and yeah, there's plenty of benefits for eating a good amount of carbohydrates for your body weight and for your activity level.